Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Wednesday 11th of February. Let's have a look at the euro dollar first, and as you see we're in quite a chop zone here in the short term. You look at the 4-hourly chart over here, and it's quite range bound in terms of where we are at the moment. Now of course we've got the Eurogroup meeting, which is a special meeting that's been called to review the Greek situation and hopefully come to some sort of agreement. Now, if an agreement's reached today and it's a positive one, we could see the euro run to the upside. If there's no agreement reached, and in which case we could see the euro drop into the downside. So really sitting waiting on that meeting largely. Now we could get some volatility of course this morning and throughout the day, but we'll just have to see where it is at the moment. I mean, if we see these lows that are running across, just put a trend line across on the dailies here. If we break these current lows across here, pop it just on there. We got to be looking for the last month's lows. That's for sure. At the moment, the overall picture to me still remains bearish. But of course it's going to be news focused in terms of what goes on here today, so really looking to see for direction, and it could, well, most likely was set up for the next few days in terms of direction. So a break of these lows, as I say, I'll be looking for last month's lows. If it starts pushing up, well, we've got to be looking at the previous highs here, and then maybe beyond, maybe towards the 50, etc. So very easy in terms of once we get some sort of idea from the Eurogroup meeting. Cable, on the other hand, still choppy. It's obviously the markets have consolidated here as well on the last few days. It's not really given us too clear a direction. Nice bounce off the weekly pivot yesterday, but it's still probably on a shorter time frame. You look at come down looking at the hourly time frame, maybe we've got an opportunity to move up further. We are very much, as I say, it's consolidated. It's in a pretty tight range here. If we can get out of this range, it may help. There's nothing obvious in terms of positioning here. Any rally up here, we may run it back into the resistance sort of levels above that was 52, or around about 52.70 sort of area. Anything, if we see some sort of sell-off breaking that 50 MA, well then I'd be looking for the daily S1 area and maybe yesterday's lows and the weekly pivot again. So they're the sort of areas that we're looking at overall in the short term, but nothing too clear at the moment. Looking at the dollar yen, a bit clearer in terms of it's been weakening and continuing its move up here on the hourlies. Let's just look at the dailies there. So it's broken out of that original range, consolidated for a day, but then pushed up well yesterday, sold off against the dollar effectively. So we've seen this shove up here, and it looks like it could push up some more. Next sort of target we're looking at really from a monthly point of view is the monthly R1, and maybe those prior highs there from very early January. So certainly got a chance of pushing up back to that sort of 121 area, or 120.75 area probably at least. So if it can get up there, short term though, it has a downside target of 119, 11 or 12, somewhere in the region, so 13, somewhere in that region, 14 even, and these prior highs. So if it does break this trend line here, I'd be looking for that as a potential target. A little bit erring, I'd much rather be on the long side of this than the short side, so I'd position the size accordingly. Okay, Aussie dollar, another choppy picture we've got here again. However you look at it, it's in quite a tight range at the moment. Not a lot of clues. If we start breaking the lows, again it's sort of it comes back. If we start breaking these lows here, oops, then I've got to be on the sell side of this. I mean, in the short term here, it looks bear flaggish sort of pattern. So if it does start running down, it makes quite an easy trade from that perspective. Hasn't quite. Oh, actually, let's just refresh that, because I think it has called a daily pivot. Yep, it's called its daily pivot. So, yeah, any sort of sign of weakness, and we see a break of this little trend line, maybe join on the sell side. So looking weak but choppy at the moment. Right, that's it. So Eurogroup meetings will really shape the day up, I think, and I'm not too sure what sort of time we'll be looking at those coming to some sort of conclusion. They'll be starting quite early, probably already started, or starting very shortly at least. We could see those running through to sort of mid-afternoon. Hopefully, at some point, we'll get a formal statement covering the outcome. Okay, that's it from me. Have a great day. Bye for now.